I always do that when I'm nervous. I'm just waiting to see if I can get some people in here before I start talking. And I'm about to sign into my Facebook right now online. If not, that's okay. But thank you, Shay. Alright, since you on here, I'm gonna start talking. I wish that I could explain how hard this process is for me when I get something laid on my heart, and how it just took almost an hour for me to even start this video. Like seriously, that's how much I was struggling with the doubt and everything. But okay, this video is called Temptation versus Harmony, and it's basically putting it in other words, devil versus God, the enemy's plan versus God plan. And I wanted to put it in a way that was very drawing, very appealing. So that's why I've said Temptation versus Harmony. I'm a spoken word artist, so I'm creative, and I don't like doing typical things or typical sayings. But what I want to talk about is how the enemy's plan is different from God's plan. And I wrote down some notes just so I could stay on track. And I'm talking about how there's an example when I went to a party and hang out with my brother yesterday for his birthday. His birthday's on Halloween, and we turned up for his birthday. So we're pretty much in Philadelphia, walking around town. We're close to the city, and we end up going to this club or whatever. And I just really had a good time. And I usually don't go out much, but I really had a good time with him. It was really fun. I acted a fool, whatever. And that, like, I'm single, and I could have been talking to people or try to continue to talk to people after that night out, but I could have been stressing about the fact that I even met them in the club in the first place. I'm sitting here, I talked to y'all in the video about waiting for marriage or whatever, and if I was dating and I dated somebody at the club, that would be kind of weird, because it's like I would have to worry about if this person's hanging out with a whole bunch of other people and stuff like that. So I'm using that example of how being in that atmosphere and having fun on that side of town, on the side that can be sinful with the drinking and everything, how that can become stressful when your thoughts get to thinking about this person or whatever. And even the pleasures that come from things that we do that are sinful are temporary. When we get in the wrong relationship with someone, when we, probably have a one night stand, or you just drinking or all that, when we do stuff like that, that's a temporary pleasure. And that compared to the things that you get when you do things God's way, and I'm gonna give you some examples with that as well. Like, you get peace, you get love, you get joy. Even surrender is a pleasurable process with God. And so I'm gonna give you some examples that I know from my personal life. When I feel these things, I used to dance in this group called Namyanka, and my dance director actually brought me to them. And I remember when I was battling spiritually with like tormenting things at night, demons and stuff like that. Yeah, Erica, battling demons and stuff. And my director just happened to talk about it and bring it up in rehearsal. Next thing you know, I'm crying because this is something that I'm going through, and I'm on the floor laid out. And I remember them surrounding me and praying over me because I was just, battling it right there as well too. And they told me to lay out, prostrate, whatever. The next thing I know, I'm in a fetal position. Hold on, saying my connection is weak. I don't know if it's still going. They're saying my connection is weak. Oh my God. Are you serious? Come on. Can y'all see me? Can y'all hear me? Oh my God. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Oh, I can hear myself. All right. So Let me know if you can hear me. Oh, I can hear myself. All right. So Let me know if you can hear me. Oh, I can hear myself. All right. So Let me know if you can hear me. Oh, I can hear myself. All right. Okay. So all right. So thank you, Erica. So back to it. I'm laid out on the floor. I'm battling this thing there, and I remember them saying, "Don't touch me. Do not touch me." I remember that even while I'm praying and speaking, whatever. And then I get in the car with my the family that I was staying with at the time, and we're recalling the night, and I'm like, somebody touched me. And it was like, no, they said nobody touched you. They told nobody not to touch you. And I was like, somebody did. When I was in that fetal position, I felt something like hovering over me. It was like a presence that I felt, and it was almost like they was hovering over me, like their hands was draping over me or whatever. And to find out that there was nobody that touched me, whatever covered me while I was battling that situation right there and then, I know it had to be God. I'm gonna give you another example. The first time I was spiritually attacked, I have to use these examples because there is a realm out there that's different from the one that we're accustomed to, and that's the one that wakes us up. That's what keeps us awake. So when I was attacked before, I remember seeking God at that time, and it was this book that was in my closet. I was 14 years old. This book that I had gotten a while ago. It was called The Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Meyer, and I didn't pick up that book until I got that attack, and I had that book in my closet for at least a couple of years. And even now, when I talked about waiting in sex and lust and all those things with y'all, there was a book that I had left, I'm being real with y'all, at my ex's house that I ended up getting back, and this book that popped up that said Lady in Waiting. Times where like you could tell that God is strategically sending you the encouragement or something to get you through what you're going through. Those are the things that are long lasting, and I call the things that stress us out temptation. When we do things on our own, I call that temptation. I call the things that, are long lasting, like love, peace, and joy, and all those things, those tools that God give us, I call that harmony, because it's like this perfect blend that's necessary for our life. But I have more. I said the difference between God's plan and the devil's is that God reveals his plan and the devil doesn't. Why? The devil is selfish, he's greedy, he's deceptive, he's a liar. And we really should ask ourselves, when the devil don't reveal his plan to us, is he really on our side? If we don't know, I know we don't know everything that God does, but he reveals something even if he don't reveal it all. Whereas the devil, we don't know what situation we're getting into, and all of a sudden it's causing us stress, it's causing us anger, causing us unforgiveness, and all these things that pile up on each other that it's something that we can't carry, or a burden that we can't carry. And even all this week, let me know if y'all still hear me. Even all this week, I've been thinking about that phrase, obedience is better than sacrifice. And the reason why I thought about that is because my brother wanted to bring his birthday in. I keep using him as an example. He wanted to bring his birthday in, and I was bringing wine. Well, wine for myself to the turn up. And it was red wine because I like to drink wine rather than drinking liquor. I feel like it's more classy or whatever, to tell myself or whatever. And I know I can get the same effect and still be good. But for some reason, God was telling me, leave the wine in the car. And so I did. And I don't know why I felt that conviction, or I was told to leave it in the car, but I just did it. And I still don't know why, but I did it anyway. And I want to talk about how obedience is so hard because was that today or last night? I left the bottle in the car from going to the turn up, but I drank it at home. And obedience is so hard. It's like when you walking through life, you have your spiritual being telling you, to not do this, not do that, don't go there, you don't want to do that. Or maybe go here. And we have to be sensitive to that spirit because it leads us and guides us and directs us in the right path. But one thing after another that we have to obey is difficult. It's already sin in this world. God knows what's in here. And that's a hard thing to keep, is to keep obeying God when he tells you to do something instant after instant after instant after instant. So my question is, how do we continually let him guide us? I want y'all to think about that. My reason for saying that also is that I feel like this is the reason why we always need, I'm not going to make y'all do nothing. This is the reason why I feel like church is important, or just getting into the presence of God whenever we can. If we do know how to do it by ourselves. If we don't, we need to be in church. Because this is why submission is important, because we don't know how to be obedient all the time. I don't think anybody can be that perfect. I'll be honest. So submission is important, and it's a constant process when you have to submit yourself over and over again, surrender yourself over and over again, because I know it's something that you wrong this week or this day, and I know it's something wrong you did yesterday, or something that you're going to do wrong tomorrow. So it's important to, know how to step into God and say, look, God, this is where I am, and I need to hear from you right now. And sometimes we go to church and we expect everybody there who's in ministry to do it for us. I'll use an example. Praise and worship team. I'm currently on the praise and worship team, and this is not like putting nobody out there like that, nothing at all. I'm currently on a praise and worship team, and I'm noticing that this is not just in one church either. I'm noticing that sometimes even myself, being on the opposite end, people who are in the congregation, if you're not entertaining them, they won't usher into the presence of God. As a praise and worship team, you have the responsibility to set the atmosphere. So with certain things that need to be in place, we have to have a certain mindset already when we come in. But the people who are watching also have to have a mindset when they come in. And that mindset should be, God, I need you. I'm being real right now. I mess up this week, or whatever I'm bringing in the door, even if it's just wanting to praise you for a testimony. I feel like testimonies are important in church because they, you can relate, or it gives you hope. You should always be praising God in that moment. That ties into obedience as well. And then obedience is better than sacrifice. The sacrifice portion, sometimes we don't know what the sacrifice is, which is also why it's important to be obedient. With this video, I literally battled for almost 40 minutes, worrying about how much light I would have for this video, worrying about, how I look or what I would say wrong, or, my nerves and all that. But my job is to be obedient. If God drops this in my spirit to share with y'all, I need to share it. And for the title alone makes me think it's the devil. Temptation versus harmony. He wouldn't want me to get this out. But sometimes when you're in doubt and stuff like that, you don't think about all that. That's fine. But I don't know what the sacrifice would have been if I didn't share this with y'all. And I don't know what the reward would have been either. I don't know what's on the other side of me sharing this video with y'all, sharing everything that I have to say. So we need to be obedient and trust God and let it take us wherever he need to take us. I'm going through my notes. Oh, this is the other thing about being in church. Being able to open yourself and have your mindset ready when you come into the door to give God your all. Sometimes we look at other people like they crazy. When they praise God, they shout him like we ain't never seen before. They say stuff over and over again like, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. That's a part of their process. And they were ready. They were ready and they had their mind set and open. They were ready to come in there and be transparent and be real with how they feel and what they're going through. But some of us are not willing to do that. We should be willing to do that every week that we come to church, or every time we step in. We should be really, really willing to do that. And sometimes we sit there and we judge them like we haven't done anything wrong when they give their praise to God, but they get something out of the experience and we don't. I just wanted to mention that. And I also want to mention if we're not in that mindset and going to church or whatever, or ushering into the presence of God anywhere, and we get mad because we don't feel a thing or we don't feel like He's there. If you go to church and you're not willing to give yourself or be transparent and real and open yourself up to what God has to say, then to be honest, why are we even there? We could just stay home. There's a reason I feel like I'm not condemning or fussing like a preacher would, but that dropped in my spirit for some reason, and it's real. Why are we there if we're not already in the mindset? Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to say is that with every sin that we commit, with every sin that we see others commit, we could have been subjected to it as well. So you see somebody who becomes an alcoholic, or you see somebody that becomes a murderer, you see somebody that becomes a rapist or whatever. It's not right to judge. And to each its own situation. Like, I know there's hard to forgive some of those things, or to even cope with those things. But at some point in our life, either we could have been subjected to that as well, or our family members could have been subjected to that. Matter of fact, that kind of temptation could have passed us by anywhere in our lives. Even like homosexuality or domestic violence. I'm just naming some crazy things, but it's the truth. Those temptations could have passed us by somewhere in our life if you really just sit here and think about it. And we could have passed the test where we didn't fall into it. Or that's not our own conviction, or we're struggling with something else. It's not right to judge another who is going through that situation. And you have to ask God how to handle it. But I just felt the need. I just felt the need to mention that although you've passed it in your life, don't pass judgment onto others who are going through it. That's why we have a responsibility of loving and pouring our love on people and praying for them where we feel like we don't have the strength to support them or forgive them or whatever, so that we can get those things. And then I thought about this verse when I had this message in my head and in my heart. 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new." I don't know why that dropped in my spirit, but I feel like it's saying that we have new mercies every day. So I can come into God's presence and say, God, I don't have it all together. I'm not perfect. And be transparent with Him. And not worry about what anybody else think. Because it gives me new mercies every day. And, I feel like that's what helps me to be obedient. If I wasn't real and honest and transparent, then that would probably just drive me further into my temptation. That would probably drive me further into this doubt that I'm feeling. Like, if I had not did this video, I don't care if it didn't go well or not, I probably would have went further into the spirit of doubt and not believing that this was important when it is. And then on the last thing I want to leave with you guys is that I thought about the song by Beyonce, Flaws and All. For some reason, I'm just sharing some songs with y'all that y'all can start listening to that will help you, both secular and gospel, to usher into the presence of God. I was singing like Flaws and All, and I was thinking about it in terms of God knowing all my flaws and seeing all my flaws, and accepting them And the same thing with Kiara Shear's song, Flaws. You love my flaws. You don't see them as flaws at all. You could use those two songs. And then Travis Green, I was thinking about, I Just Want You. He says, take everything. I don't want it. I don't need it. I just want you. And then there's You Keep On Keeping Me by Travis Green as well. So it's just different songs that, can lead you into the worship. I feel like I'm a little bit jumpy, but I hope that y'all get what I'm trying to say in this whole matter of temptation versus harmony. It is more important to be obedient to what God has to say than it is to be okay, Javon. Than falling into the temptation that the devil sends our way. And that obedience is it can take us somewhere. And we have to constantly submit and usher into the presence of God and have a relationship with Him. If you don't, you should seek it. We need to have a relationship with Him, because that's how we continue to be obedient. After, we struggle with any type of temptation, continuing to get into that presence every now and then, that's how we fall into temptation. The next day we read in the Bible. There's nothing wrong with that, in my personal opinion. I suffer it all the time. I'm not perfect, and I'm going to be real and transparent with y'all as much as I can. I'm not going to sit up here and paint a perfect picture like I'm all perfect, because that will lead to failure, and that will lead to destruction, and I'm not her. But this is Here I Be for Him, and I thank you guys for watching. Please feel free to share and have a conversation with me if you want following this video. I'm always open to it. Love y'all.